Hi guys, we have a new learning target today. We've been comparing fractions. So today we are going to compare fractions that count the same number of equal parts when the whole is divided into a different number of equal parts. So let's just kind of think about this for a second. So same number of equal parts, but the whole is divided into a different number of equal parts. So remember when a fraction has the same number of equal parts? Same number of equal parts means numerators are the same. And then it says the whole is divided into a different number of equal parts. So our numerators are the same, but our denominators are different. So same number of equal parts, numerators the same, but the whole is divided into a different number of equal parts. So our denominators are going to be different. Remember our last lesson we compared fractions with the same denominator, and that was a little simpler because if our fraction was greater, that meant that that was the greater fraction. But now we're going to be looking at numerators that are the same and denominators that are different. So let's look at this first one. Ryan and John are riding around the park. Ryan completes 3/4 of the ride. John completes 3/6 of the rides. Who rides farther? Ryan completes 3/4. John completes 3/6. I want to know who rides farther. So for this, I'm going to use probably my fraction strips because I feel like that's easier for me personally to see, like to compare my fractions. So for Ryan and John, remember we want to make sure our fraction strips are the same length. So that we're making sure that we get the most accurate comparison that we can by drawing our own. Okay, so these fraction strips look pretty equal, and for Ryan, I'm splitting my fraction strip into 4 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So Ryan's split into 4 equal parts, and then John is getting split into 6 equal parts because he completed 3/6 of the ride. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Ryan completes 3/4 of the ride. Notice our numerators are the same, 3/4, 3/6, but our denominators are different. We're coloring in the same amount of parts, even though our parts of the whole are different. So 3/4, so 1, 2, 3 for Ryan. For John, 3/6, 1, 2, 3. So who rides farther? Let's compare these fractions. Let's put Ryan here and John over here. Notice this for Ryan was split into 4. So my whole was split into less parts. For John, the whole was split into more parts. But looking at this, even though John's denominator is bigger, it looks like Ryan rode farther. So I would say that 3/4 is greater than 3/6. I just want you to look at this one more time. Our numerators are the same, denominators are different. Notice that the fraction that was split into less equal parts is the greater fraction. as long as our numerators are the same. Let's move on to number 2. For this, we're going to be using a number line. So, Rocky hikes 5/6 of a trail. Rini hikes 5/8 of a trail. Who hiked farther? Show the distance on a number line. So, Rocky hikes 5/6. Rini hikes 5/8. Who hiked farther? Notice denominators are different. Numerators are both 5. When making a number line, just like with our fraction strips, they need to be the same length. Always start with our 0, ending with our whole, because neither of our fractions are above 1 whole. So let's do Rocky's first. We're breaking our number line into 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and then 1 whole, or 6/6. So she hiked 5/6. That's where she hikes to. Now let's do Rini's number line. I made sure that my number lines were the same length, but Rini's is getting split into 8s. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 0/8, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then 8/8 or 1 whole. And she hiked 5/8. Again, I want you to notice, even though Rini was split into more equal parts, she's still farther behind Rocky. So, which fraction is closer to 1? Well, is 5/8 or 5/6 closer to 1? We can see right here that Rocky, so 5/6, is closer to 1. So comparing the fractions, which one is greater? Which one is closer to 1? We just said 5/6. So 5/6 is closer to 5/8. Who hiked farthest? Rocky did. Again, I want us to notice that even though our numerators are the same, the denominator that is split into more equal parts is the lesser fraction. Because the more that your fraction is split into equal parts, if your numerator is the same, our equal parts are smaller than what they would be if our denominator was less. So down here, this is kind of where we're going to get into that a little bit more. Aiden climbs 2/9 of a rope. Reed climbs 2/5 of the same rope ladder. How do the numerators compare? Looking at our numerators, what are both of them? Both numerators are 2. So we know both of our numerators are 2. How do the denominators compare? Well, Aiden, what's his denominator? We see that his is split into 9 parts. And Reed is split into 5 parts. I also just noticed that I spelled climbs wrong. That was my mistake. It's okay, easy fix. So, if I can't remember that the more parts my whole is split into, the smaller the fraction, especially when we have the same numerator, I can draw it. That's always the best choice for me to make, is to draw out my fractions. So I'm just going to do fraction strips again, make sure they are the same length. So Aiden was split into ninths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Reed was split into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That part's a little bit off, but that's okay. So Aiden did 2 ninths of the climb, and Reed did 2 fifths. Notice that the fifths, their equal parts are bigger than the ninths equal parts. So even though that 9 is bigger than my 5, my numerators are still the same. And my equal parts that are split into fifths are bigger than my equal parts that are split into ninths. So, are 2 of the equal parts in Reed's climb smaller or larger than the 2 equal parts in Aiden's climb? So here is Reed's climb. Here is Aiden's climb. Are my 2 equal parts down here bigger than my 2 equal parts down here or up here? They're larger. Reed's 2 equal parts are larger than Aiden's 2 equal parts. So, 2 ninths and 2 fifths. Here's my 2 ninths. Here's my 2 fifths. Which fraction is bigger? 2 fifths. So 2 ninths is less than 2 fifths. So who climbs higher? Reed. What I want you guys to remember when doing this lesson, as long as your numerators are the same, as long as your top number, your numerator is the same, the smaller denominator is going to be your bigger fraction. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the equal parts are. So remember that when you guys are doing your HMH math today. And make sure that you are drawing your pictures as well, whether you're using a number line or a fraction strip or using a circle, whatever works best for you. But make sure you are drawing those pictures out. Good luck and have a great day.